Yeah, so we just got an update from the National Hurricane Center, and they use the word about. It's about to make landfall. There have been wind gusts as high as 120 miles an hour with this system as it moves to the northeast. And look at the eastern side. Look at this squall line right here. So what we have is a lot of lightning. So this is an extremely intense line of storms right around the eye wall. So this is essentially the eye wall located across Punta Gorda all the way west towards the Northport area, now making its way northward towards Osprey. In fact, in Venice, we just had a wind gust to about 90 miles an hour. So it gives you an indication of just how strong this storm is as it moves in. Current wind gusts right now, 81 miles an hour in Venice, 92 miles an hour in Punta Gorda, but we have seen wind gusts over 100 miles an hour. All right, I want to show you this storm as it makes landfall, and it should be literally in the next couple of minutes. In fact, Rebecca's in the Weather Center. So, for Rebecca, if you do, in fact, get word that this has made landfall, let me know. It'll be on the chat as soon as it comes out. Now, we've been talking about this earlier today, but it's just incredible how much lightning this system is producing right now. It shows very little signs of weakening as it moves east. This has come on shore as a strong Cat 4 storm. If it's going to become a Cat 5, it has to do it right now because it's literally minutes away from making landfall. The eye of Hurricane Charlie was 5 miles, made landfall in about the same place. This eye, 40 miles, and so the width of hurricane force winds, the diameter, extends all the way up to Sarasota. So all of Sarasota County right now experiencing either hurricane force wind gusts or even hurricane sustained winds as this system moves to the northeast. So right along that path is where we're going to see, as it moves inland, the hurricane force winds, Hardy, DeSoto, into Highlands County. And to the north of that, we should see some wind gusts to about hurricane force right along the Sunshine Skyway and south. North of it, I think it's mainly going to be tropical storm force winds. We really zoom in. You can see where Boca Grande is right there. And, of course, this is Englewood. And Englewood is right inside the eye wall, getting the strongest winds right at this moment. And actually, the western side of this storm is actually the stronger part of the storm. So some of the strongest winds, even though they're getting a break in Boca Grande right now, some of the strongest winds are about to move back in. And that's when the wind's really going to pick up again. So it's eerily calm right now over Boca Grande, places like Captiva and Sanibel. But the wind's about to pick up big time as the western part of the eye wall begins to move onshore. This is actually from Oldsmar earlier today from James Smith. Here in our area, the wind is being pushed out of the bay, and it really is a very eerie sight around here. This is a live look at St. Pete Beach right now. Temperature is 73, so we have the rain cooled air, but we've seen about 2 inches of rain so far. Now, as these gusts of wind, 110, 120 miles an hour, continue to move inland, the worst of the power outages are likely to be obviously across Sarasota County and right along the path of the storm, but there's going to be some scattered power outages across Hillsborough County, Polk County, and a lot worse as you go further south towards Manatee County and into Hardy, DeSoto, and Highlands County. Notice we're expecting extensive power outages across our southern counties, and once power is out, it can last a couple of days. It can even last over a week or more if you've been through hurricanes before. And a lot of the folks who live in Hardy, DeSoto, Highlands County, and Polk County have been through many a storm. Irma and also Charlie have experienced power outages that have lasted for days, if not weeks. That's a look at your future radar, as you can see. Storm making its way inland, moving to the northeast right now. The western side of the storm, as we've been talking about, that's the part of the storm that has been producing the heaviest rain and will continue to produce the heaviest rain as it continues to move north. This is going to be weakening overnight, but as we head through overnight, that's when the really heavy rain moves across inland parts of the Bay Area.
I think Rebecca's saying what we have word now. It's official.
We just got the official hurricane landfall information, and so extremely dangerous Category 4 Hurricane Ian makes landfall in southwestern Florida. It looks like the eye along the southwestern coast near Cayo Costa around 3:05 p.m. Data from the aircraft indicated that Ian's maximum sustained winds were estimated to be near 150 miles per hour. The latest minimum central pressure was 940 millibars.
Well, that keeps it a Cat 4 when it officially comes ashore. But
Cat 4 weakened just a teeny bit as it made landfall. But this is one of the strongest hurricanes ever to hit the state of Florida.
And the other thing I keep thinking about is we got to find a little bright side of all of this, and I guess it's that it's not slowing down. It's going to blow through Florida faster. It came ashore faster than we expected. Everything just kind of got pushed to the south.
It did, yeah. Well, it did, and for people in Tampa Bay, I mean, breathing a sigh of relief that they have dodged a bullet, while at the same time, people south of Tampa Bay proper, so especially Sarasota County and south of that, saying, oh, not again, because Charlie, of course, hit Port Charlotte, so just bad luck again.
And they just rebuilt it. It was all great. And you mentioned the South. I want to go to Jack Royer because he's down in Northport right now. He should be getting hit with some significant wind and bad weather. Jack, are you there? Jack Royer.
He's in the north. He is in the Iowa.
Northport. There he is.
Yep.
Go ahead, Jack.
Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. We are in Northport, just off 41, and this is what it looks like. It gets worse every time we see you. This feels like a storm that just made landfall not far from us, because if you look around, this is the debris that this storm has brought down from these trees in really just the last hour. Quite a bit of what was in these trees was starting to fly off, but I mean, look around. All these branches and everything have just fallen with the powerful winds and rain. If we look over here, it continues. This is the best visual probably to look at these cars and just see this water being swept by the wind, that dumpster over there just being hammered, everything in this parking lot. To me, it's amazing these cars have not moved. It is so powerful, not quite hard to stand up necessarily. I've been in hurricanes before where you have to brace yourself to stand upright. That is not the case at this particular moment, but there is a wind advisory in effect. This is just pounding water onto everything, and already saturated ground here. These trees are shaking, and so are some of the light poles here in this parking lot. We've been here for really about 12 hours or more now. I've honestly lost count, but it is quite a scene, because what was an area that people were coming by and checking things out and looking has now become completely barren. There are some people who have sheltered in the businesses along this strip mall. Some of them have homes here. They just felt safer in a structure like this. We have been here because we felt safe here, away from some of the winds, easy to step away from it, but we are feeling it now. And it's just impressive to see what Mother Nature can do, what this storm is doing as it moves across Northport, north of where Jeff Patterson was, who you heard from a minute ago. He has a high up vantage point. This is ground level about 12 miles from the Gulf, and this is what it's doing as it makes landfall in the southern tip of Sarasota County. Keith and Stacy.
We were just talking to Jeff Baradelli about the wind speeds where you are and these gusts that you're catching, and obviously it's more intense at sometimes more than others, but he's saying, you know, sometimes up to 90 miles per hour you could be feeling wind gusts. And you've seen this ebb and flow, which included some of the water with the wind.
Absolutely. I can't estimate. I don't have a meter with me to tell you exactly what we're experiencing, but I will tell you some of it where I am standing right now is shielded by a long shopping center, probably 100 yards beyond where I am standing, and at least 100 yards in the other direction. So that is doing some to help with the winds that are spinning off of Ian today. But yes, you're right. The water and the wind is a combination that is making for a messy afternoon down here.
All right, Jack Royer, thank you so much. We're going to be checking back with him frequently. News Channel 8's Masa Saidi is not far from Jack. She's actually in Bradenton, which is in Manatee County. How are things there, Masa?
Things are progressively getting worse as the afternoon goes on. I've been out here for about 4 hours. As you know, Stacy, this is my very first Florida hurricane that I'm covering. And as the day was going on, it appeared to be just another thunderstorm, but now things are progressively getting worse. You just saw wind gusts hit me, and I'm told by county officials that this is just the tropical storm wind. So it will be very interesting to see how the hurricane wind feels. I want to show you the trees. In particular, I've been looking at that tree that is right next to that light pole, and right now it's calm, but it was swaying so much. We were close to it a while ago, and that's why I moved down. And if Jim can just show you a little bit of the debris on the ground, and eventually he's going to show you, we watched that branch snap right off of that tree. So the rain is getting stronger, the wind is getting stronger. Right now it's actually pretty calm. Earlier I had a hard time standing up for a second. I had to brace myself. We are in touch with county officials. They tell me that 120,000 people were ordered to evacuate. And I asked, how many people are sheltering in place? And they say they don't know. What they can tell me, however, is that as of 8 a.m., 2,000 people were in shelters. And in the 2 hours that followed, an additional 3,000 people filled up the shelters before they shut the doors at about 10 a.m. Now, we are being told that for the next 18 hours, you are on your own. So get to a safe place. Make sure you are sheltering in place, because fire and EMS, they are not going to come out and help anyone. We did hear from the Division of Emergency Management Director say that if you are in trouble, you can go ahead and you can call 911. However, we were listening to county officials give their update about an hour ago, and they said that right now they are not going to be going out. The wind is just far too dangerous for that to happen. We know there are some reports of power outages. About 20,000 people are without power. 25,000 were without power, but they somehow were able to restore power for those people. We know that in this county there are 7 teams standing by, ready to the second that, do you see that? That's the wind gust. It's really powerful. I haven't felt anything like this before, but so, yeah, as I was saying, there are 7 teams on standby, and they're ready to come and help people and look at the damage as soon as it is safe to do so. But yeah, again, officials want you to shelter in place. I am with a veteran photojournalist. Jim Hockett is behind the camera, and we made sure to pick an area where we are, as safe as you can be. And we are right next to the county building. So in between our live shots, we are just dipping under the safe structure over here. So this is where we are hunkering down and stepping out just to show you how strong and how powerful the storm is starting to be. So I do know that as of 2 hours ago, there were no reports of injuries, but we're going to be out here. Stacey, and I should also tell you, there are some reports of the issues with the sewer wastewater plant overflowing. So officials in the county are asking everyone to not use the water. Don't flush the toilet. Now is not the time to take a shower. And I do just want to mention that we have seen about a half a dozen people out. About 30 minutes ago, I spoke with a group of teenagers, 8 teenagers that were just out here. The oldest was 16, as young as 14. And I asked them, what are you guys doing? And they said, oh, you only live once. We're just having fun. And I told them that was probably not a good idea. But so we have seen them around. I talked with a gentleman who is from this area. He was on his bike rolling around. So hopefully people are going to listen to officials, and hopefully they're going to stay safe. But again, we are just feeling the effects of Ian as it starts to enter this county. I'll have to talk with Jeff Baradelli to find out exactly when, but certainly this is starting to feel like more than just a thunderstorm. And for the first time, I'm cold in Florida. I'm cold right now, and I haven't been cold in 4 years. I'll send it back to you guys.
Masa, the mom's coming out and you telling the teenagers to get inside. You need to find a pole or something to hang on to for the next live shot, because she's in the thick of it right now.
Well, up there, I mean, she's still about 40, 50 miles away from the center of this storm. Let's go to News Channel's Allison Henning. She is joining us live from Sarasota, and you found some shelter while some of the activities going on around you. Allison.
Keith, we really had no other choice but to do so. In the last hour, the wind has significantly picked up from our last report. We're in downtown Sarasota right now. It's a ghost town out here right now, which is what we want to see. I'm waiting for a gust to come through just to show you. I know these windscreens kind of mask some of the noise. It's very loud out here. The wind is howling. So I'm just going to kind of show you what we're talking about here. It's a significant difference. And this isn't even bad. This is not even one of those heavy gusts coming through, but looking around, we're starting to see more and more pieces of trees start to fly off of trees. We're going to try and walk you down this way so we can get a little bit of a better visual. Avis, if you're okay to do that, we'll come back this way and kind of show you what we're dealing with here. But yeah, we're in a parking garage on the 4th floor here, kind of in the heart of downtown Sarasota. I would say we're about 2 blocks from Main Street, and I just want to show you what we're looking at here from the 4th floor with this howling wind. We've got a lot of debris on the ground right now. It's kind of coming through this way, and you can see the rain and the wind kind of wrapping around these buildings here downtown. We were able to drive through the area before the wind got a lot stronger out here. We didn't see significant damage. We did see some awnings ripped off of buildings, obviously significant waves in Sarasota Bay. We are, of course, at the point here in Sarasota, as we've been reporting, that, you know, emergency services are no longer responding because the wind is just too strong and it's not safe for emergency responders to do so. So again, as we've been reporting, we really are encouraging folks to stay inside, hunker down in place until these conditions start to ease up. But from looking at the track, you know, it's not, the worst of it's not even here yet. I was texting Rebecca Berry a little while ago asking her when we can expect to see the worst of it here in Sarasota County, and she told me this evening. So we're of course going to try and stay as safe as we can here in this parking garage. She said this is probably one of the safest places that we could be, but of course the message to the people who are thinking about going outside, don't do it. You know, like I said earlier, I'm feeling only a small percentage of what these winds are actually like outside. So at this point, it's very dangerous out there. So we just want everyone to be safe. We, of course, will continue keeping a close eye on the conditions here, but from downtown Sarasota, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, wisely staying inside under shelter right now, and thank you, Allison. As she mentioned, it's only going to get a little rougher for her from there at this point. But let's go to our chief meteorologist, Jeff Baradella. We know where the storm came across, where its official track was. Right. Now we're dealing with what comes next.
And Jeff, you nailed it. You said Boca Grande, and it came in, what, 2 miles away?
About 2 miles away. For all intents and purposes, it came across right around the Boca Grande area, south to about the north side of Captiva Island, around the South Seas Island Resort. Looking at Max Defender 8 radar right now, you can see that the storm is making landfall. There are the islands right there. So many people are used to vacationing in those places. They have experienced wind gusts over 100 miles an hour. And you can clearly see that this continues to move east. It came on shore with winds of 150 miles an hour. It weakened just a little bit as it was interacting with land. So there's Sanibel right there, and Boca Grande located right there, and the eye itself came ashore right there in between. Punta Gorda, Northport, you are under the gun with the actual eye wall. Same thing in places like Englewood. That's where we have the strongest wind gusts right now as it continues to move to the east. Now, what I'm doing is I'm sampling the wind above these towns, these cities. This is not on the ground. This is aloft, but it shows you what the potential is, because these storms have the potential to bring these winds down to the ground. And notice how, yes, on the eastern side of the system, above the ground, there are wind gusts to 125 miles an hour. But on the western side of the system, there are oftentimes winds up to 140 miles an hour. You can clearly see that. Now, what you'll notice is there's no wind. Zero wind in the middle, so it's that eerie calm. You get the eastern side of the eye wall, that moves through, it's ferocious, you get a break, and this time it's a long break because the eye of this storm is a good, you know, anywhere between, depending upon where you're measuring it, anywhere between 20 and 40 miles wide. And so then all of a sudden the western eye wall starts to move in, so they are preparing for that right now in places like Boca Grande down to Captiva. But north of that, you'll notice that the winds just off the ground here, just to the south of Osprey and just to the north of Englewood, they're up to 82 miles an hour. So those can be brought down to the ground in gusts. We'll zoom a little bit more into that area, make our way north into Sarasota County and Manatee County. And yes, above the ground right now, we have wind gusts up to 97 miles an hour, right above Sarasota. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to see wind gusts to 97 miles an hour in Sarasota. I'm just telling you that above the ground, that's what the winds are. You can reduce that by, let's say, about 15% or so, and you can expect those winds to be somewhere around 70, 75 miles an hour. So hurricane-force winds and widespread power outages in Sarasota County. A little bit better as you head north into Manatee County, but you could see winds gust as high as 70 miles an hour. In St. Petersburg just now, we got a gust to 60 miles an hour at the airport. In Tampa, we had a wind gust to 57 miles an hour just now. And in Punta Gorda, there was a wind gust to 110 miles an hour just now in Punta Gorda. So I want to show you where the biggest and heaviest rain bands are. Now this, of course, is the northern part of the eye wall, moving right across Englewood, Venice, and Northport. Of course, Jack Royer is located in Northport. He's away from the water. And the winds die down rapidly when you move inland with these storms. So along the immediate coast, if you have a wind of, let's say, 120 miles an hour, by the time that gets inland, that's likely close to 90 miles an hour, because wind and the friction of land really does slow the winds down. But nevertheless, damaging winds making their way inland, just not as strong as they are along the immediate coast. We have bands of rain increasing. So now we have steady rain across Manatee County, as you can see. And then every once in a while, we get a heavier band. There's one band kind of moving out of Manatee County, across the Sunshine Skyway, then a break, and there's another band that is building right now around Lakewood Ranch, and that's also rotating to the north. So these bands are becoming more frequent. And as the bands move across the Tampa Bay area, we see those wind gusts to about 65 miles an hour, and that's what we should expect to see through the remainder of the afternoon into the middle part of the evening as the core of this storm makes its closest approach to Pinellas County and to Tampa and to Hillsborough County as well. Each one of these bands right here, as it comes through, it has winds gusting to 60, 65 miles an hour, potentially a little bit higher than that. Moving a little east into Hillsborough County, here we go, another band moving through Brandon right now down towards Riverview, and then a few more bands here in Lakeland making their way across. We have not seen as many tornado warnings as we had earlier today, but we've still had a couple of tornado warnings during the day today. Last night we had a lot when it was moving across South Florida. So there's Polk County, and just one more stop will take you onto the Nature Coast right now. And generally it's light rain, every once in a while some squally weather, but it's not, the winds aren't nearly as heavy. Okay, this is what I was telling you. On the western side of this eye wall, very soon, so this is at 4 o'clock, so coming up in just a couple of minutes or so as I look, so about a half hour from now, we are going to see those winds start to gust back up to 127 miles an hour in Boca Grande. So that's how strong and ferocious the west side of this storm is. It is stronger than the east side. Sanibel gusting to around 100 miles an hour. As it moves inland, those hurricane-force wind gusts move into places Arcadia, Wauchula, and also into Sebring, and winds begin to die down a little bit in places like Boca Grande. But notice Englewood at 6 o'clock, you still have hurricane-force wind gusts there in Englewood, and things are not quite as bad the further north you go into Sarasota and into Bradenton as well. Take it through 7 o'clock tonight, and the strongest winds are now moving inland, Hardy, DeSoto, and into Highlands County, where we could see hurricane-force wind gusts and extensive power outages. And then the system begins to depart, and things begin to get better as we head through the middle of the night and into tomorrow morning. It'll be breezy, it'll be gusty tomorrow morning, but not nearly as strong, as this system is now forecast to move faster than they thought yesterday. And that's because it was able to kind of tap into stronger steering winds and avoid that wall in the northern Gulf of Mexico that we've been talking about for the past couple of days. You know, I keep talking about this, but it truly is amazing to compare these two storms, because Charlie and Ian made landfall basically in the same place. The eye of Hurricane Ian is 40 miles. The eye of Hurricane Charlie is 5 miles, and the hurricane-force winds extend out 3 times further in Hurricane Ian than in Hurricane Charlie. All right, guys, I'm going to toss it back to you. I'm seeing lots of reports of damage and obviously a lot of storm surge to the south of us.
Yeah, we have crews spread out over 8 different places right now, and some of them getting hit harder than others.
And the worst would be, for our team anyway, is Jeff Patterson in Punta Gorda. He's about 40 miles in from where this storm made landfall. Jeff, you're starting to feel those winds at least 100+ miles an hour, I would imagine.
No question about it, Keith and Stacy. Good afternoon. This has been incredible. We have felt some very, very powerful winds. I want to show you this tree over here. When we first arrived here this morning, that tree was beautiful and just spread out, and now you can just see those top branches that are splitting in half, and part of that tree has now blown away. You can look down the street here and see smaller trees that have been uprooted and blown over, and there's a house over here that we saw from the top floor, the 4th floor of this parking garage that we have been hunkering down in, basically, and part of the tree had blown over on top of this home. Thankfully, I did not see any structural damage, but certainly there's going to be a lot of cleanup. And you can just see how intense these winds are. I'm kind of standing with the parking garage shielding us, because earlier, as you saw Joey Capistrano when we were on the other side of the parking garage, 6'3" man, big kid, blown, he couldn't even stand up in this. So we have now taken a little bit of shelter from the winds in the direction they're coming, which is from the south and the east, as Ian is coming on shore here now, and we are seeing some of the most intense winds in any hurricane that I have ever seen. Power has started to go out in some portions of Punta Gorda, but not all of it. I can see a street light or a row of street lights that are just down a block from us that are still active. But even as I'm speaking, I can see the power lines above us kind of just shaking and shimmying above us, and we have been watching that now literally for the last few hours as this intense storm is coming on shore. The other thing that I'm noticing that we have been hearing throughout this storm for the last couple of hours is just this intense crashing, and you can hear these loud noises of things shattering in the distance, homes and trees, power lines being uprooted, street signs coming down, all of those kind of things. And so it's going to be a while before they are able to clean up. I understand that there are power lines that are down in the street. The Peace River has been, flowing outward, and there's no water in portions of the Peace River right now. You're looking down the street here in Punta Gorda as another tree has just fallen just down the street from us. So things have been really picking up in intensity as a number of trees are coming down. As I mentioned earlier, it's not just the wind, it's the fact that the ground is completely saturated, and so the root systems are compromised, and as the winds pick up in their intensity, the root systems are saturated, and so these trees are just toppling one after the other, and of course that's what's knocking over the power lines as we are here. So we're going to toss it back to you guys. We're going to stay as safe as we can, but we have been watching a really powerful hurricane come on shore.
Jeff, I think you make such a good point with those power lines being down. That's why officials say they don't want people out and about in this. You don't know what you're going to come across. You've been through a lot of these storms. It's best to stay indoors because we're not even close to done with this where you're at.
No, it's going to be with us for a long time, Stacy, and you're right. It is very dangerous to be out. We're doing the best we can to minimize our exposure to this. And certainly, Joey took a stroll a little while ago and was getting some video for us so that we can bring you, how intense this storm is. He encountered a down power line, turned around and walked the other way, said, just not worth it to walk down the street. Wise decision on his part. But just as I was speaking to you, I heard a large groan in the distance, and just the intensity of this, the noises that I'm hearing are incredible that, you just don't experience unless you're in a storm that is this powerful, and this is certainly one to remember.
And Jeff, having been down there with you before and looking around, there's so many water areas, marinas, Burnt Store Marina not too far away from you, a lot of boats. We're seeing the roads and the poles, but I mean, there's a lot of watercraft that must be collecting together with this storm mixing around the way it is.
Keith, and you remember in 2004 when you and I were here together for Charlie, and we kind of came into Punta Gorda, and your mouth just dropped open because it was so sad to see all of the businesses and all of the infrastructure that had been destroyed by that powerful system. I can tell you it took a long time, and you know this from covering the aftermath of Charlie. It took a long time for the folks here in Punta Gorda to rebuild. I will tell you they did it bigger and better. There's a lot more stronger buildings downtown now than there were then.
Yeah, I can tell.
Certainly there's going to be some destruction here. Certainly there's going to be property damage here, but they really did do a good job of rebuilding this city. You don't ever want to have to go through anything like this. As the governor said, we didn't ask for it, but we're going to come back from it. So, it is just amazing to watch the power of this storm. And it's not, as Stacy said, it's going to be with us for a long time. As a matter of fact, I just watched yet another tree in the parking lot fall over as I'm speaking to you, watching these things just topple. And of course, I'm keeping a watchful eye all around us. And again, I'm shielded from the worst part of this wind right now by a 4-story concrete parking garage. But look behind me. Look behind me how powerful those winds are. And you can get a sense of what Ian is bringing inland as it comes onshore and goes further inland towards Arcadia and that area. Those folks are not going to be ready for the kind of wind. And I'm hoping that anyone in this storm's path is taking cover, because just to see this behind me, it's intense.